Oh man, Chase is back on a Super Sport. This should get real interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Chaseontwowheels here in front of Mountain Motorsports in Roswell, and in front of us, yes, we have a 2021 used Yamaha R1. This is their mid-cycle refresh version. It is used. I think it's got, so I've been told it's got 10,000 miles on it, but that engine is brand new, which does mean I'll have to tone it down just a little bit on this first ride, but it's been a while since I've ridden an R1, and I'm really excited to see how, does my history with my R6, is it going to come back today? And there's only one way to find out, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see what it looks like, and let's see what it sounds like. Alright guys, that's what it looks like, that's what it sounds like. Now before we get going, to have that beautiful camera car footage you guys know we love, we're going to do an ad super fast. This one I think you guys are going to like a lot. So let's jump to an ad real quick, and I will be gone.
Hey Trey, what's this thing on my desk?
Oh, you mean your Speed Sanctum gear rack?
Come again?
Yeah, they're fans of the channel. They sent four of us out to test them and stuff to replace these guys.
Yeah, those little hooky boys, those were awful. No place for your backpack or gloves, nothing.
I mean, it's powder coated steel too, so it should be pretty durable and strong.
Yeah, and it was super easy to install as well. It took me like 30 minutes for all four.
Why do we have this one?
Oh, I just took it down for the ad.
Oh.
You wouldn't happen to know how much weight this thing can hold, would you?
They didn't give an exact number, but it was like 88 pounds on their website with like kettlebells. But it changes depending on what you mount it to.
I know I'm not the only one who could use an all-in-one solution to my everyday problem of my gear ending up where it's not supposed to be. On the floor, away from my bike, or misplaced in some obscure corner of the house. With this Speed Sanctum gear rack, I now have an all-in-one solution to keeping my gear organized and safely out of the way. Speed Sanctum even took the time to take the form factor into consideration with the gear both on and off the rack. You can't tell me this doesn't look like something out of a pro racer's garage. Besides the 10-ish minutes it takes to install, the hard thing will be figuring out how best to configure your gear.
Do you think we could mount a Grom to it?
Maybe not a Grom, maybe a Metropolitan?
Not too bad.
Cool, well, I'm sold. Got any ideas for how we should film it?
Oh, I'm sure I'll think of something.
Who are you talking to?
Is that the ice cream truck I hear?
Ice cream!
Ice cream!
Just go to speedsanctum.com or click the link in the description. And don't forget to use Chase20 at checkout for 20% off. That's Chase20 for 20% off. Good looking out, Speed Sanctum. And back to the first ride.
And the ice cream.
Alright guys, that is it for the ad. Pretty cool stuff, right? We've tried those helmet racks in the shop and I love them. But anyways guys, thank you guys for watching through the ads if you did. And yeah, helps us do what we do. Alright guys, 2021 Yamaha R1. Oh yeah, I can't do my phone in my pants for this one. Oh, by the way, check out the fork stem quad lock mount. But that's pretty cool. Thank you, producer Trey, for putting that on. Alright guys, let's get her cranked up. So guys, I'm 5'10", got a 32-inch inseam, and as you can see, I'm actually able to flat foot this bike, which is kind of surprising, but my knees are just slightly bent. So shorter riders, you know, if you're going to be any shorter than maybe 5'8", it's going to be a tippy toe situation. Let's get this thing cranked up. All right. All right, guys, this bike does have modes. Modes A, B, and C. You can see it changes power, traction control, slide control, engine braking. We'll start out in D. I don't think I'm going to let myself go to A just because of the brand new engine. So keep that in mind. There's probably other reviews that are going to be able to go full beans with this. I'm not going to be able to do that today, but we're also going to be on the road, so probably shouldn't be doing that anyway. All right, dudes, and if I remember correctly, we are GP shift. So that means I'm in neutral, and I'm going to click up into first. That is correct. Okay, we are in GP shift. Can't wait to see how many times I accidentally shift into the wrong gear today, so that'll be fun. All right, guys, before we get going, I do want to give a shout out to our Discord page, or Discord server. If you guys are fans of Discord, we have a server full of motorcycle enthusiasts just like yourselves. So I invite you to go check it out. We'll have a link in the description. Go post a photo of your own motorcycle in our Moto Photo section. It is my current favorite page. Oh, we finally get to go. Jesus Christ, this bike is already hot as hell. All right, guys, welcome to the 2021 Yamaha R1 first ride. Oh my God, are you serious? Brake check. Didn't plan on testing the brakes this early, but I guess I got to. Thank God. Oh God, I did it. I went into second instead of first. I knew I was going to be doing that today. All right, guys, we are on the 2021 Yamaha R1, the apex predator of Yamaha's sport line. Well, I guess the apex predator would be the R1M because, you know, titanium and all. But this is the fastest thing Yamaha puts out. This is in competition with stuff like Kawasaki's ZX-10R, Honda's CBR-1000RR, and of course Suzuki's GSX-1000R. So stout competition power-wise. All of these top-level super sports, they all seem to have relatively similar power. I was pretty surprised when we were putting together our research list. So it's all down to how uncomfortable do you want to be and what do you want to look like. So it should be a pretty interesting first ride. It has been a far too long of a time since I've done a first ride on an R1. And we are low on gas, even though we got gas ahead of time. Hilarious. All right, guys, it's the first ride. Let's start it off right with a body position. Boy, and there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, from the camera car, you guys can see I am in super sport mode. My legs are crunched up. They are able to grasp on the tank really well, which is a pro. Now, the seat's a little hard. I don't have a problem with the seat, though. The seat feels normal. And then my top half is leaned all the way over. This is one of those motorcycles you gotta ride correctly or else you're gonna find yourself putting a lot of weight on your handlebars. That is just naturally with your body being leaned so far over. The only bikes I can really think of that are leaned over farther than this would be, ironically, the Triumph Speed Triple RR. We passed one 2 seconds ago. And also Honda's CBR 1000 RRR SP. That is the only two motorcycles I can think of that I've ridden recently where I felt more leaned over than this bike. So you guys just be ready. If you're picking up a R1, you are going to be in race position, which really, if you think about it, is the whole point of this motorcycle. So guys, while we're stuck at this red light, we're in mode, oh, we were in B mode. Whoops, I meant to put it in mode D, which is rain mode. Whoa, oh my God, I did it again with the shifter, damn it. We're gonna ride around in rain mode for a second, which is D mode, lowest power mode, and get a feel for how it feels, assuming we can get past this Lexus. All right, D mode, very toned down. It's interesting with, oh my good God, I have never been this close to a damn chopper. I hope everybody's okay there. Lord help. So guys, all the power modes are going to change all of the settings, and in the YRC menu you are able to go in and customize what each mode is. Very similar to the MT-10 if you guys watched that press launch. Oh my God, I keep shifting incorrectly. God, I suck. Yeah, you can totally customize the YRC menu, which is pretty freaking awesome. I would show you guys if we weren't at a red light. I got to stop and get a little bit of gas, so I'll show you guys at the gas stop. I will say in mode D, you know, we've got ride-by-wire here, so we're, you know, riding via the computer. And the throttle and the way the bike starts going when you're going from a stop, it feels very odd. Like, I feel like the bike is not giving me the amount of power I'm kind of wanting to give it, and I end up giving it more, and it's just this really weird situation. Not a huge fan of that. Don't like the way that feels, and I'm going to be changing out of that mode right now, because I don't like that at all. I don't think a lot of you guys are watching this are going to really care about D mode. It basically just turns up all the electronic rider aids. And in mode B, that we're going to be in for the rest of the ride, power 2, traction control 3, slide control 2, engine brake 1. So you guys just keep all of that in mind. Oh yeah, B mode feels way better as far as releasing the clutch and getting going. So I don't know what D mode's doing, but it is restricting too many things. It makes it feel weird get going. So guys, here on streets, kind of like stuck in traffic, the R1 is just not the move. So guys, power wise, we're in B mode. We have tons of power, but we're in a body position that, you know, makes the bike not really nimble. The bike's super stable, and you know, especially at speed, I'm sure this bike is incredibly stable. We'll see that on the highway, but here on city streets, I don't think I'm exaggerating in saying that this bike is miserable. I'm in a very uncomfortable body position. My weight is above, in front of the bike, just being leaned over. And with the clip-ons, me being leaned over so much, you don't have a lot of maneuverability at low speeds. You know, this body position for this motorcycle is, as a rider, it's putting me, and it's made to put me in a position to have a lot of control going very fast. To do that, you have to sacrifice the everyday rideability of it. I did the second gear thing again, my God. I guess I'll continue doing that. But yeah, guys, here on the streets, this bike, especially when we were in D mode and still a little bit in B mode, I just feel sluggish and heavy. I feel like I can go in a straight line really fast. But as far as maneuvering through the lane and, you know, like if something comes up where I need to dodge it, I'm not very flicky. I'm not very maneuverable at the slower speeds. And that's something you sacrifice, you know, to do a super sport, to be riding a super sport, you can't have everything. Yeah, so city streets, not the place to be on this bike. And we've only been riding for about 30 minutes. And the bike is already getting relatively hot. To the point where I can feel it on my legs, which is pretty interesting. I guess we'll stop up here and get gas, maybe. That's crazy, man, that this bike ran through gas that fast. Green light, fam, let's go. My God, this thing is getting hot. Jesus. So far, this is absolutely not the motorcycle I would pick to have for everyday riding on the street. Man, right there on my legs, where my legs are grabbing the tank, I can feel the heat hardcore, like right there. Sitting here at a red light, you lean this bike back and forth, and I think the wet weight of this thing comes in at 448 pounds. The weight, I guess, is high up because I can feel how heavy this thing is. Not really sure. I mean, it should be lighter than the MT-10. Right, it's got lighter machined internals, so it feels pretty heavy, and it feels kind of sluggish. And you know, when you got it in that lower power setting, it doesn't feel balanced at all. I know you psychopaths watching this video, though, y'all are out here riding around in power mode A with power mode 1, traction on 1, slide on 1. I mean, y'all people probably got that shit turned off. If you're somebody that rides a R1 on the city streets, you're dealing with so much misery for no reason. I feel for you. Melting alive, fam. Woo-hoo-hoo! You get this thing going though, and you finally get some air flowing, and you're like, oh, this isn't that bad. This makes sense. My God, if this bike is not moving quickly, there's no point in this motorcycle. All right, we're gonna have to pull over and get gas because it does have a CP4 in it, and let's just say it drinks gas rather quickly. A little bit of go-go juice, and then we're back. I feel like there are way too many videos of R1s at gas stations, and now we're understanding why. All right, back on the streets as if nothing ever happened. Nobody in front of us. Let's go. Man, you gotta rev this thing so high before it starts sounding like a motorcycle. The MT10 from jump is like that. This R1 doesn't start sounding good till it's at like 6,000 or 7,000. It looks like we have a 14,000 red line. Guys, we are coming up on the highway, and if you're watching this video and you have an R1 and you don't do track days, then I would almost guarantee that you spend a decent amount of your time on the highway. We're gonna do our 40 to 80 pull. I don't think it's gonna be that great because I don't think 40 miles an hour is fast enough to get this bike in its prime location in first gear. We will not have to shift on this 40 to 80 pull, I promise you that. We'll probably get halfway through the power band and at 80. This first gear on this thing will probably go up to 100 something. This will be an interesting 40 to 80 actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Like a 40 to 80 where I don't have to shift. And guys, before we get on the highway, we'll remind you again, we're in B mode. This engine has like 40 miles on it. We will not be giving it all of its beans. So if we had a 40 to 80 pull list, like a leaderboard, this one would have a handicap. And we are on a 2021 Yamaha R1. All right, guys, 40 to 80, this is gonna be the best I can do. On your mark, get set. Damn it, I did not mean to do that. I knew I was gonna do it, but I didn't mean to. So we got to like 83 in first gear. What is wrong with this motorcycle? That is insane. And thank you, GP Shift. Thank you so much. I hate you. All right, guys, we're here on the highway with the R1. I have now shifted up into fourth, which is a cruising gear. In sixth gear, I can go 80 miles an hour, and I'm going 5,000 RPMs. So here on the highway, now we're talking speeds that this motorcycle is built for. When I tuck in now, I've got an amazing bubble that just goes right over my helmet. My arms are draped over my legs. This feels comfortable to be in, honestly. As far as creature comforts, we do not have cruise control. We do have the adjustable suspension, which is great. Here on the highway though, going back and forth in the lane, now the bike's feeling lighter. Now it's feeling more agile. It's funny, these motorcycles that are purpose built, if you don't ride them in their like purpose area, they feel terrible. Unfortunately, on the streets, the only place you're gonna find a purpose area for an R1 is a highway. This bike is incredible for highway stuff, you know? You got a bubble, you got the aerodynamics, you have the power, obviously. This bike loves being high up in the rev. You guys can see going 88, like the bike, it doesn't feel like I'm going fast, but I'm going right above speed limit. And I can be down, it doesn't turn green. I'm not in like my power band until I'm at 8,000 RPMs. In which case you can now, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much you guys can even hear me with the wind just being as bad as it is, but bike feels incredible on the highway. Very composed, this is what this bike is for. The body position's not even that bad on the highway, because then when you lift up, you're leaning forward so much, the wind is basically holding you up, and now you feel even better on the highway. Very odd machines these Super Sports are. Very purpose built. Let's get in front of some of this traffic before our big turn. Yeah, I know this is a huge shocker to everyone, but wow, that felt great on the highway. It's like, yeah, no shit, Chase. It's a R1. If any bike should feel good on the highway, it should be this one. Let's see what it feels like leaned over. Absolutely amazing. The weight of the motorcycle makes sense when you get it leaned over because it helps you just carve into a turn. This is what I'm talking about, man. These purpose-built bikes, when you're doing the one thing it's good at, it feels glorious. The unfortunate side is, unless you are doing track days, you are not doing its one thing. But anyways, guys, before I start digging into the bike, the hell? Let's jump to the camera car and see what the guys in the camera car think about the 2021 R1. Thanks to our buddies over at Cardo.
2021 Yamaha R1. Fun fact, first sport bike I ever rode. Gotta love this thing.
Not the biggest fan of super sports, though I do love the way that the R1 looks. But my boy looks super uncomfortable on it right now. Looks the business, and I bet it rides like the business, but my back hurts for you, bud.
All right, guys in the camera car, thank you so much for your opinions, and even more so, thank you, Cardo. If you guys want to get a discount on Cardos, which are, in our opinions, the best Bluetooth unit on the market, we'll have a discount link for you in the description. All right, guys, so let's talk about the power band here on the R1. R1, the big brother to the R6. This motorcycle is made to go fast and rev high. That is what this bike is for. The power band, the cool thing about the screen is it turns green, the revs do, when you're in the power band. A lot of Yamaha bikes are doing that these days. And the power band starts at 8,000. Most bikes redline at 10. So to get the power out of this motorcycle, you have to really get high up there. And when you do, and when you find that power, the bike lets you know by throwing your weight that way. The power is very strong, even in B mode when we get to it. And that's not even power mode 1, which is the most powerful mode. The power, you got to get there up to it. Get there up to it. Sure. You got to search for the power. When you find it, it is very powerful. As far as the brakes, I will test the brakes out up here in a second. As far as the suspension, we love that it's adjustable. Very necessary on a motorcycle that is very performance driven. You want to be able to customize it to you, your body weight, and all that kind of stuff. So we got the easily adjustable suspension up here. Obviously, if you want the electronic suspension, I believe that's available in the R1M model. Suspension has felt great. When I've leaned the bike over, like I said, on that big turn, it was locked on the road. It was not going anywhere. Felt really good, honestly. Didn't have any problems with that. As far as the transmission goes, this is a used model. We've got a GP shifter which inverts. So you got first is up 1, then neutral, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Still feels good. Yamaha suspensions typically feel good, so no surprise there. I feel a hit when I get into the gear I want to be in. It's very satisfying. It lets me as a rider know where I'm at in the gears. Then we also have a gear indicator, which works really well. As far as the brakes go, I have noticed something with the brakes. There is a very light area in the beginning of the brake that's not very powerful. And then quickly after that, if you continue squeezing the lever, it then gets really strong, which is kind of strange. I guess that's helpful for like slight speed management, where if you only want to give it a little bit of brake but keep maintaining a decent speed, you've got that option, and then you just keep pulling to get a really bitten in brake. So I could see that being pretty cool if maybe you're doing like a track day or something like that and you just need to, slight adjustment on your speed. I don't know if you guys will be able to tell from this. We're gonna just go through that because I got a green, I got a yellow, so we'll go. All right, guys, so let's talk about the controls up here on the R1. All the controls, it's a Yamaha bike, and this thing has been ridden for 10,000 miles. I will say the controls are holding up very well. I can tell based on looking at this bike, it has been ridden that 10,000 miles. Might have a brand new engine, but we got the same controls up here. The thing doesn't look like it's been ridden that hard at all. All the buttons have satisfying clicks when I click them. I have no problems with any controls. We have the scroll wheel menu thing. I've talked about it endlessly on first rides, but I'll mention it in case you guys haven't seen other first rides. Oh no, a braking situation. So guys, that little menu scroll wheel, it works. I don't love it. My issue with it is when I press it to select something, because it's a wheel, sometimes it scrolls up and I end up selecting something I don't want to. My recommendation to Yamaha with that is that give it a little more resistance when you roll it up and down. I think that'll solve that problem. Screen wise, the screen works out great. I love this R1 screen. I super love the little video gamey things on the side. Basically, that tells you how much inertia you have moving back, moving forward, and it tells you what percentage of brake you're applying over here. So if you guys watch it, you'll be able to see it. You'll be able to see that blue moving forward. That means I'm slowing down. And then watch when I lay on the brakes. Isn't that cool? You get a little blue bars. I can't have a motorcycle like this because I would be playing around with those things the entire time. As far as the levers go, the levers will work totally fine. They feel good. They're in good spots. They are adjustable, so we love that. And the feeling pulling in the clutch and the brake has been really good. I get good feedback. I got no problems with the levers at all. Don't love that there's silver. I mean, I think like most of the things on this bike are black, so at that point, like, let's just black it all out, fam. I do really like the top triple tree, like with these little cutouts. Just a little R1 touch, but I love it. It's some would say it's a nice touch. If you guys get the reference, let me know in the comments. Rear brake, let's see what we got. Pretty light on the rear brake. Nothing surprising. Wouldn't expect anything more than that. I think most of your braking will be done with that front brake. Alright guys, so this bike might be incredibly uncomfortable and totally pointless for the road. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But one thing that it does have going for it is that it looks dope. So we're going to pull off up here, do a little walk around of the bike. I know you guys have been watching that camera car footage, but I like to walk around. I like to see it too. We're going to turn off up here and do a little walk around, see what the bike looks like. Oh, the environment where the R1 will shine. A parking lot. Let's get this bike turned off before it melts. Alrighty guys, 2001 Yamaha R1, totally blacked out. The front looks a little wide, but this bike looks so good. The front looks like this really pissed off praying mantis that just wants to go like, love the blacked outness. Exhaust needs a change, no biggie there. We got a tail tidy, which is cool. Nice job, whoever owned this bike. That's sleek. We love that. The tail on this year model R1 is so good. I remember the first time I saw it, and I was like, bro, now we're getting into a good tail for a motorcycle. Let me walk back here so you guys can see. Look at that thing with the little scoops and everything. The R1 and the Panigale got really great tails. Engine's blacked out. We love it. We've got a little hidden R1 here with the gloss on the mat. Overall, it's just a really sleek looking bike. You know, I imagine a lot of you guys, when you think of super sports, this is the vibe that you're thinking of. Super thin seat, real just meaty and like big bike. Great looking thing. I'm honestly surprised this has the passenger pegs on it. The person that rode this previously seems to not be a person that rides with a passenger a lot, if you know what I mean. All right, dudes, I'm going to grab my phone off of my quad lock real quick. Shout out to Quad Lock. And take some photos for Instagram. If you guys are on Instagram, make sure to follow us at C2Pics and on TikTok at Chaseontwowheels. We post a lot of complimentary content to go with the first rides that I think you guys really enjoy. So I'm going to take some photos real quick, and we'll get back on this thing. Alright guys, I think that is satisfying. If you guys want to go check those photos out, they will be on Instagram by the time you see this video. Alright, steering stem lock test. This is probably not going to go well, but hey, one way to find out. The XSR 900 didn't do that great of a job either. Oh my goodness, even worse than the XSR 900. Oh, you win. You win the worst steering stem lock yet, Mr. 2021 R1. That's hilarious. Let's get back on the road because I got to figure out a way to talk about what I'm about to say. And without ruining young Chase's dreams of motorcycles and whatnot. Hello, Mr. Officer. Nothing to see here. We're finishing up here on the R1, and I can only think that this motorcycle, because it's been a while since I've done a first ride on a Super Sport. The last one I did, I believe, was a Gixxer 750. The Gixxer 750 isn't quite as bad as this bike is, at least in the ways that we're going to be talking about. Riding this bike around, really makes me understand now, and this could be me as a rider and in my stage of riding, but I really don't see the point in having motorcycles like this road legal. If it's road legal, you're going to be riding in areas like I just rode, or you're going to be riding up in the mountains. If you're riding up in the mountains, I could totally see this bike being decent, because that's what it's made for, technical riding. But this might be one of the top 5 worst bikes to buy for everyday use. Here in the city, it's hot, it's heavy, it doesn't maneuver very well because of the ergonomics that the rider is put in. I mean, like, it's powerful, right? It's an R1, but the power is held up high, and you don't even, like, I'm shifting in third just so the bike is quiet. Most people wouldn't shift out of first riding this bike around. Speaking as somebody that has gone through a stage of riding an R6 for a while, which I feel like an R6 might be a little better of a bike than an R1 for a everyday bike. These bikes, honestly, in my opinion, are just not fun to ride in these environments. Like, this is not what this bike was made for, and you can very much tell that when you ride it around. It is not comfortable to be leaned over a motorcycle like this while you just ride around in slow-moving traffic. The bike gets really hot, makes you even more uncomfortable, and it honestly takes a lot of energy to ride this bike slowly. I was telling the guys in the camera car, because obviously with the camera car footage, we need to drive a little slower to get good footage. I am not exaggerating in saying that this R1 is easier to ride on a track, like giving it 50%, than it is to just slowly maneuver this giant whale through stopped traffic. It's crazy. It is a precision instrument made for track days and technical riding. Unless you are doing track days and technical riding, this motorcycle is utterly pointless. I won't say it shouldn't be sold for street use, because I could totally see, you know, if this was your weekend bike and you went to do technical riding on the weekends, whether it be like mountains or canyons or whatever, phenomenal motorcycle. This is motorcycles being a toy and a precision instrument, not a utilitarian useful vehicle. That, I think, kind of sums up my thoughts on the R1. And I know in saying that, I'm kind of killing the dreams of like young Chase when I was, I can remember being in a car with my mom on the way to traveling somewhere, and I saw these bikes and they would be on the highway going so fast, and it would be such a cool thing to see. And now 12 years later, I'm here riding these bikes and I'm like, there's no reason for this. So now I don't want to crush you guys' dreams. If you've always had it in your head, you got R1 posters in your room, and one day you aspire to get an R1, dude, whatever I say can go like out the window. If this is the bike you want, by all means get this motorcycle. I'm just telling you what I feel like from my perspective, but hopefully you guys take it with a grain of salt. I'm only one opinion. Make sure to check out other opinions. Because I appreciate you riding around with me. If it wasn't for Mountain Motorsports here in Roswell, I would not be able to ride this motorcycle. So if you guys are looking for your next motorcycle up here in North Georgia, or anywhere really, make sure to check out Mountain. We'll have links for them in the description down below. They got a huge dealership, tons of options. You can sit on R1s, ZX10s, whatever the hell you want. Find the right bike for you. And guys, if you enjoy motorcycle content, make sure to subscribe and like this video if it helped you out. I'm Chaseontwowheels, and I'll see you on the next one. Outro crew. Man, my back don't do super sports no more, fam. After the camera car run, I've been on this thing for about an hour and a half. And let me tell you, I am so happy to get back to mountain and be done riding this. If we were at a track, it would be a totally different conversation. But here on the street, this thing is not even fun, honestly. Like, the highway's not fun because I'm not going to do absolutely ludicrous shit. So, like, unless you're doing that, this bike is not fun to ride. I would literally rather be on an R3. I am not exaggerating. Oh my god, what a weird statement to make. Alright dudes, thank you for getting to the end of the video. Make sure to see in your comment, and I love you a long time. Later.